What's going on?
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts feeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
Time to go to school.
Yo, dude.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Dead or Live, the Dead or Full Spectrum channel on our Sunday night show. Welcome everybody in the chat, and thank you. Here we go for the next 2 hours. The topics and guests, all in about the paranormal field, and we thank you for joining us tonight. Always, before we get started with anything, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, also the reminder bell, and the thumbs up. Very important, guys, for the algorithm. I think we're going to shorten that pretty quick here to SB. What is it? SBT. Subscribe, bell, thumbs up. SBT, ladies and gentlemen, that's the new logo. We're going to go with that for so that you don't hear the same thing you hear on every other YouTube channel out there. SBT. We're going to make t-shirts. Ken, you will get over that real quick, and then this way, it'll start a new trend. How are you tonight, my friend? Are you recovered yet from your huge trip last weekend?
I am. I'm back. It's awesome.
And the review is continuing, correct?
Yeah. For those of you that on another planet that didn't follow us, we were at Wildwood Sanatorium and then Rolling Hills Asylum a week ago, and some of the data is being examined, some of the evidence is rolling in, and some of it's pretty impressive. You never know. You never know. But I had a weird weekend. I was talking to you about it. And on Monday night on a town hall, which is tomorrow night, I had a very weird weekend from being kind of oppressed to being accused of having a doppelganger. Is my voice being heard in a tunnel at Rolling Hills when I was nowhere near that location? Nowhere near it. So an interesting weekend, but we'll get all that together and share it with all of you. But it was a hell of a lot of fun and some wild experiences.
Absolutely. And yeah, we'll stay tuned. We'll do our postmortems like we always do. But again, life gets in the way sometimes, and you can't just sit in front of the computer with headphones on for 36 to 48 hours. It's exhausting and taxing. Which is something that we have to warn our guests tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our two guests you are probably familiar with from the Oliver House investigation. This was probably an eye opener for her when Cody and Satori were doing their session and made contact with her family members. And of course, this is not uncommon, even when they do cases, whether it's commercial or residential. The people that are there will make contact, but it has happened to so many of us where our friends and family come and visit while an investigation is going on because they know it's a surefire way of getting that message across. But it was an emotional night. She joined us. She became friends with us. It was not her first visit. She had come on as a guest prior, but she has now announced to me very recently that she has decided to accept the title of paranormal investigator and start her journey. So we decided to have her come on so that we can tell her everything she's doing wrong and what she can do right in this field because Ken has 50 years experience. I've got 20 years plus experience and we're still figuring it out. So
You got that right.
learn from our mistakes. But Ken, you want to do the honors and bring our guests on?
Absolutely. All right. Joining us tonight, we've got Alyssa back with us, and you already know she brings a really intuitive psychic sensitivity to investigations. But tonight, she's not here alone. She's teamed up with Liam, who, and I love this dynamic, because he's not just along for the ride, he's coming in with a more skeptical, grounded perspective. I don't think he's a non believer, but definitely someone who wants to test what's happening and not just accept things at face value. Good for him. So, together, they're stepping into this next chapter, actually getting out there, investigating locations side by side and seeing what holds up when you put intuition and skepticism in the same room together. So, Alyssa and Liam, really glad to have you both here tonight. Come on in here.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I
We're
already
doing
got
pretty.
the name for your team Phoenix Phantom Paranormal.
Phoenix Phantom Paranormal. That sounds so cool. I like it.
PPP. Oh, we can't do that though. Is it trademarked already? The PPP, Ken?
Yeah, no, who's down with PPP? Yeah, you guys can have it.
But you got
I don't
Patreon,
know.
Patreon
I'll,
Paranormal Pals. We're battling for that.
yeah,
No.
I'll have to check trademark things, see if they've registered. So, if not, Triple P West Coast or P cubed West Coast.
Yeah. So this is a grand adventure you guys are getting started on, and the way that we'd like to do this tonight is kind of give you guys the host position to ask questions. In the first section of this, you'll be talking just with Ken. I would stick to a lot of the equipment and technical side of it and the skeptical side of it. And then, if you want, with me, spirit boxes for a little bit, and then the metaphysical, because that's something you were asking me about as we were messaging. But, most importantly, I have to find out, Liam, are you getting dragged into this against your will?
No trademark.
Nah.
Such confidence. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I can tell you this. Ken can also attest to this, though. It's not the situation with Ken. Ken full throttle into this field himself. His wife Dawn does join from time to time, but she was not the initiator. But many, many, many relationships in this field, the initiators will be the women, and then their husbands will join in, and they get addicted to it just as much. So you certainly are in for a ride, my friend, to say the least.
Scary.
Um,
Who's
What they
hoping for
say?
that?
Scary wife, scary life. Right? Yeah.
did Alyssa, did you ever show him the
And I'm
YouTube
terrified.
shows that you were on?
I showed him the stream of that. So when you guys had went to New England, I showed them that stream where my cousin and my aunt came through, and then I also showed him when we did the collective consciousness experiment. I also sent him that one. So
Yes,
yeah, that
it's
one.
yeah, it's certainly something that I've always said this, and we've done this on this show now. We've been doing 17 years or so, but to simply say that it's nothing until that first personal experience. When that first personal experience hits, that's when the addiction begins, and it is incredible. But
Yeah.
let's not delay this any further. I'll turn it over first to Ken. Ken, I don't know what questions you have for them, and then you guys feel free to ask questions. Pick our brains tonight.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. We're
see you in a bit.
ready.
Thank you, George. Hey, I've been doing it for over 50 years and I turned out okay. All right, so listen, before we start getting into investigations, let's start with how did you wind up here on this show tonight? Um, like, what was that moment when you made that decision that, this is going to be a little bit more than just an interest and become something that you actually want to pursue? Talk to people, visit locations, get boots on the ground, that kind of thing, rather than just observing, you're going to participate. So, how was
Mhm.
that decision reached?
I would say that the decision was reached probably. It started probably when we were first starting to date because I ended up learning about a house that's in the town that Liam lives in that is actually haunted, and we wanted to stay there, but at the same time too, I was like, oh, let me just hold back and maybe we'll see how everything goes. But we've been going to like different towns and different places. We never really looked up the history, and I think the moment like I had talked to Liam about doing paranormal investigations and that stuff and about his
Yeah,
skepticism, and all I think the moment that it literally just pushed me to be like, yeah, we're going in was when we went to Astoria and completely did not know that Astoria was haunted. Like it just went over my head, didn't even think about researching it before we went there. So when we had when I had my experiences in Astoria, I was like, I want to investigate. Like I actually want to do this. Like I
yeah,
want to take the leap. Like even as a kid, like when I was younger, I wanted to do paranormal investigating, but I never really had anybody to go and do that with. Like I did it with some of my friends at their houses, and it was scary. But like now that I'm like, okay, you know what? I think it's time to jump back in. Like I look back at like the videos that of our interviews. I look back at like like the shows that I've used to watch, and I'm just like, I'm missing out. Like I was like, I feel like I'm missing out. Like I need to be a part of this. Like I feel like I'm just sitting here when I know I could actually go and be able to see and believe in person and also reinforce my experiences as well.
yeah. Well, that's one of the first things that you ask, or people should ask, is what am I going to bring to that?
Mhm.
Rather than the other way around. You may have an interest in it, but we all have different personalities. Who are you bringing to that party? And how are you going to go about your business? Liam, first I want to ask about your axe in the back. Is that a Fender?
Yeah, it's a Mexican strat, I think. Yeah,
Oh,
it's Mexican.
your Strat. Cool. Um,
Yeah.
all right. So you coming to this, have you in your past had any kind of experiences that you couldn't explain? Or is this the kind of thing that, because there's an awful lot to doing this that sometimes people overlook because we're chasing ghosts. I mean, there are physics involved, there is psychology involved, there is historical research involved. There's a lot of different directions that you can go to and apply whatever you're into. So, how did you come to that? Yeah, let's go do this moment.
I never had any experiences really that I would consider paranormal most of my life, ever. She's the one that's been sensitive to these things more than me. Like, there's a cemetery next to my house that we walk through, like, just on a walk, on a whim. And basically, that, like, I had no experience walking through it at all. But she had, she said she smelled something. Can't remember what you said. I think you said you smelled cigar smoke. I don't know if you heard anything or not, but
Only cigar smoke and the perfume, the scent of a perfume.
Mhm.
that's right.
A lot of
So
our
I'm coming into this basically like aversion to this. So I haven't had anything that I would consider to be a paranormal experience.
Mhm. And I just got this weird notification on screen for some reason. I got
Yeah, the whole
distracted. Yeah.
yeah, I had to get that.
Did Now, did you lean into this pretty quickly, or did it take a little bit of time to just kind of sort out what you want to achieve with it? Because that's a big question. Like, what's the end game? There may never be an end game, but what is it we want to get out
No.
of this? Is it just curiosity? Is it that you want to go a little bit deeper than that into the science aspect of it? Like, at the end of the day, I don't know if you're there yet. It's like picking a major in college. It's like I'm not really sure what that's going to be, but I'll ask you both. What do you hope? And again, it comes down to what are you bringing to the table, right? Like, what do you hope to achieve in this? What are you working toward?
She wants to convince me, basically. I know that.
I think it's convincing him, helping him get his own experience as well, but also to actually prove the paranormal as well to others as well.
Mm,
Being able to capture it. Because I know, like, growing up, I couldn't really capture it. Like, I've always seen it, and, like, family members have seen it or heard it. And it's never been, like, something that
yeah.
we have physical evidence of. Like, I think there was only one evidence of, nope, I lied. There was two incidents where we actually captured, but we weren't sure whether or not it was real or not. But it's like to be able to capture it and have that memory and like experience that, also experience different places that you've always wanted to go to and share it with somebody else
Right.
is a fun experience.
Yeah, I would suggest free yourself from the idea that we need to go prove.
Yeah.
Like, if you prove it to yourself, you document it. This idea of proving to the world and showing it to the world is not a place right now where it's not very open-minded. It wasn't to begin with, and it's
Mhm.
not quite that now. So I'm curious how you think this is going to work, because I consider myself a skeptical believer. I've had a lot of experiences and I've seen a lot of things that convince me there is something else out there, but you have to drag me to it.
Mhm.
I need about five different things to happen before I can declare. So I'm curious as to how you see this working out with contrasting styles and mindsets on this. Have you considered those occasions where you might clash on something that is happening out there that paranormal? Well, I don't think so because it's healthy, but do you foresee that down the road?
Well, I mean, we had that experience in Astoria, didn't we? To
Yeah.
some degree,
we,
basically.
we had that
Because you can
experience.
tell a story about that.
Oh, well, we had the experience in Astoria. Basically, like I know Liam's a skeptic, but it's like I remember like when we first got into Astoria, I just had like a feeling just from looking at like one of the signs of like the city, and I saw the sign of like our hotel, and I was like, why would our hotel have a sign? Like, is this a landmark? And it's like I asked Liam, I was like, is this a landmark? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, wait, is it haunted? I was like, now I think about it, and I ended up looking it up as we were pulling up to the hotel and saw that it was haunted. And I was like, okay, well, we're gonna prove something tonight. Something's gonna happen. I already know it since I now know. So it's like we went in there, we checked in, and I even asked the front desk person. I was like, "Oh, so is this place haunted?" And he was like, "Well, for me, I didn't have anything, but most of our guests, we've had stuff happen at this hotel. Like they've had stuff." And I was just like, "Okay, so here we go." I was like, "We got this." So it's like come nighttime, Liam's getting ready to go to bed, and I'm like in the bathroom, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna open myself up. I was like, I'm gonna open myself up because I know like if I keep myself closed off, I'm not gonna get anything. So I was like, you know what? If there's any spirits here, come and visit. I was like, just come and visit. Went to sleep. All of a sudden, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I look over by where the door where you would go to the door to the bathroom, and you just see like this giant figure, just this figure wearing like a hat, dress suit, like old 1900s suit. And I was just like, oh, okay. And I went back to sleep. And then I heard Liam get up, and I was like, okay, let me turn back over to see where he's going. I see him get up to go to the bathroom, and Liam, completely unaware, doesn't see it because he's just walking. He walks right by the figure. The figure was still standing there. So this is like a few seconds later. I'm just like, oh, you real? I was like, you're here. I was like, okay. And went back to sleep again. And it's like I waited until morning to finally tell Liam. I was like, you, like, I saw this figure. And he was like, uh-huh. And I was like, well, here's the thing. When you got up, I looked again, and you walked right by him. Like, he was still standing there. Like, I was like, you full on walked by him. And he was like, oh. So we really pissed off Jedediah. That's what happened. We pissed off Jedediah because of the fact I was there. So it's like, I was like, oh my god.
My name, I gave it, by the way.
He gave the name for it, the spirit. Because we knew that Oregon back in the day, way back in the day, had some racist undertones there. So I was just like, oh my god, the spirit was probably pissed off that I came to this hotel. And that's why he showed himself. But it's like later on that day, we ended up going to get food. We came back, and Liam went upstairs to go get his energy drink. And I'm sitting in front of like the painting, or not painting. It's a picture. It's a picture of like the owner, the person that made the hotel. And then next to it, there's another picture which has the same photo, and then like it's a newspaper printing. And I'm looking at the photo, and I'm like, that guy looks very familiar. Why have I seen this person before? And I get up, and I'm like looking at the photo. I'm realizing, I'm like, wait, I seen this person. Yes. And I ended up looking at the newspaper clipping and reading the description, and ended up learning it was the person that literally the hotel is named after. And I was just like, so that's who I saw. And when Liam came downstairs, I was like, that guy. I was like, that guy, that's the guy. That was the guy in our room. And he was like, oh, so you pissed off Mr. Elliott by being in his hotel. I was like, see. I was like,
Well, I mean, you see a shadow person staying in the corner of the room. Just go back to sleep. That's the way to handle it. That's the way to handle it.
Yeah, what are they gonna do, you know?
yep.
Liam, let me ask you something. What does it take to get you across the finish line on anything that you might document and witness that you'd be able to say, yeah, all right, there's something there that I can't explain. What is it? What is your line on that?
I mean, like you said, it's kind of hard to pick, like, something definitive, like, exactly. I've always said it, I mean, like, a personal experience of some kind.
Hmm.
Um, Something like what she had happen to her, because I've never had anything like that happen to me
Right.
at all. So, I mean, like, I don't think like an unexplainable smell would do it. That's happened before. You just,
Right.
you know, you're going through a city or something, you just smell random things. But like seeing like a definitive apparition, I guess, would
Right.
be something as an example. Um, we were just watching a video kind of recently about like the Fresno night crawlers or something like that. If I saw something like that, I would be like, okay, maybe, you know, something that's that potentially difficult to explain. If I saw it in person in front of me, you know,
Yeah, I mean, there has to be a threshold because what happens
yeah,
is you sweat over 99 pieces of something that could be rational rather than
yeah,
really dive into that 1% that really needs further examination. I think that's where we get caught up now because social media, editing programs, I mean, you don't know what's real, what's not real anymore. So probably the best thing to do is don't poison your mind with it. So let me ask you this. How do you define a haunting? And the reason I ask you that is you go into a place and somebody is going to inevitably ask you, so what do you think? Like, and there are a lot of
yeah.
terms to describe it: haunted, active, this and that and the other thing. So, if you were to declare a place haunted, what kind of things would you need to get to that point?
I mean, a very, I mean, obviously there's a scientific element to it too, potentially,
Uh,
like physical evidence. You know, it's hard to just say, "Oh, I saw something." You actual good footage of it, eventually. I know
Right.
she'll probably get me into like the more technical things, but yeah, something that's I would say something that's hard to disprove more than anything.
Right.
You know,
Because hauntings, for the most part, are something that's recurring. Like you had the
yeah,
same experience somebody else had, and somebody else had that, and then when you go back a second time, you
well,
you maybe record the same voice. So consistency, it's easy to say, it's not easy to get
yeah,
because we're weird creatures, and when we pass on and we bring all our personalities into it, you know how it is. You're up and down, good days, bad days. I'm a ghost. I don't want to talk to you today. I got things to do, you know. Um,
ghost errands to run.
right. Alyssa, as far as, I always like to ask these questions of people who have these kind of abilities. How do you tell the difference between something you are genuinely picking up versus like your mind filling in gaps? Because the brain is always going to be working,
Mhm.
whether you're a psychic, whether you're not. So that's got to be a challenge with someone with psychic ability. It's like, is the suggestion in my head? Is this a genuine feeling? Like, how do you go about it? How do you separate those two things? Block the left side out and let the right side take over.
I think over the years, essentially, I've been in that mode of like debunk. Like I always like I believe in stuff, but I also try to debunk on the spot. So I try
Yeah.
to figure out whether or not could it be manipulated or something. So like for example, I think when I told you guys about the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum, when I saw, actually, I didn't tell you about what happened after that because we had the interview before the incident happened.
No.
But you knew about the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum, you didn't know about the stuff that happened after. There was worse that happened after. But like for example, like I had saw a demon's face back here by my door, and essentially I was just like I was staring at it. I was sat up and I was staring at it, and I was going through like every possible thing that it could be. So I was like, oh, it's the wig that was on the hair rack. Oh, maybe it's my bag. Maybe it's my purse. Like I always have to think
Wait a
about.
minute. You didn't just say you saw a demon behind you, did you? Not now, but at some point.
It was at some point. It was like probably I think maybe a year after we had our interview,
Jesus
after the first
Christ.
interview. Yeah, but we got rid of it. We figured out how to get rid of it. One of my coworkers helped me, and yeah, we think it was tied still to Haunted Museum. Like it went dormant because of what I thought was getting rid of it, and then somebody pointed out they're like, no, it's not gone. It has to be still there. And then stuff started happening again, and I was like, of course. I was like, of course.
Yeah, hard pass.
Yup. And I already told Liam it would take a lot for me to go back to that museum. A lot,
Mm.
especially after everything that happened. But I try my best
and
to like
my mentality,
you with
my
your.
mentality has always been just like I want the smoke. Like, that's what I'm saying.
That's what we
I'm
came
just
for,
like I want
brother.
to see. Yeah,
You want the smoke.
so I'm
You
just
don't want
like
the
no,
full smoke. Do you want the full smoke or do you want just a little smoke?
full smoke. I want the spirit equivalent of a switch Glock is what I want. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
But it's
I
like,
didn't
yeah.
like, I want the payoff. Like
yeah. I mean,
somebody show up and just mess
Mhm.
around with me a little bit. Um,
because she does, because she talks about things like that that are that would in my mind be difficult to refute, right?
right.
Like her personal experiences. So that's what it would take for me. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you've got impressions, and on the other hand, you've got somebody who's not just saying, certainly accepting what it is that you're saying, but not co-signing it until we have a chance to corroborate. Because I
Yeah.
think that most people with psychic ability want that. If they're legitimate, they want
Yeah.
that. It's like, listen, I can tell you what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing, whatever my process is. But if you can give me a name and back that up, that makes you feel pretty good about yourself.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I got a hit. You're not always right. No one is. But the more that you can get like that, the more you can
Yeah.
expand it. Um, Question that people ask me when they start this thing: give me some advice. First piece of advice is decide why you want to do this, because it's long hours of nothing. So you have to have some kind of passion for it. You really have to enjoy the company that you're with, because some humor will break the tension, break the monotony, and there's no problem. There's nothing wrong with having some fun doing it. When it's time to be serious, you're
Yeah, that's
serious. You're trying to achieve something, but God, we're not Ghost Team 6 here, okay? We're trying to enjoy each other's company, have a good time, discovery. Maybe we'll learn something along the way. So when you go to any location, what's your initial game plan? How do you work this? Are you going in intuitive first, or are you going in evidence-based first, or just combining the two? It's like, what's your approach? I want you to come into my house tomorrow. What are you bringing with you?
I would say the game plan is it depends on the location. So, like for example, with the Airbnb that we want to go to, with that place, I told Liam ahead of time. I was like, when we book it, I need you to talk to the woman, but you're not going to tell me anything about this place. I was
Hmm.
like, because I want to experiment. Like after the collective consciousness experiment we did, I was like, okay, well, I want to test that. Like if I'm able to see a story of what happened to someone, then I would like to see if I can have that happen again at this location. So I'm gonna have Liam basically contact the owner, figure out what are the stories, but he's not gonna tell me anything until we get there. If there's any specifics to the stories, because I only know a little piece of information that Liam told me last year about the place. I don't know a lot about the place. I
Yeah.
never knew it. I didn't even know it existed until I went out there. So basically, to go in that way, and then of course doing for that specific investigation, like of course Liam would have the background information, then of course doing like daytime investigation and also doing a nighttime investigation. Daytime would just be to make sure like there's no contaminations, like looking to see what types of things are in the house could be contaminating evidence if possible. And then two, also just to do see allow a lot of time. So to be able to allow enough time that you're able to pick up on stuff, or maybe not pick up something. You might not pick up something during the day, but then you pick up on it at night, or you might pick up on something during the day, and then maybe you
Hmm.
might not do anything at night. But with any other investigation, because I know that I tend to like when I go and find places, like for example, I'm building a whole list of places, like small places that we could go to. Like I do end up seeing certain stuff, but I try to avoid reading too much of that stuff. But I would like to do background information and come in there prepared so that I can let Liam know, hey, this is what we're going into. And then, of course, do our investigation, whether it's at night or partially in the day. Um, and then review it the next day or review it on the spot. I think it would be best in my eyes to review on the spot because, say, if you capture something, I want to just make sure that it was for sure captured. Like, I want to make sure, like, whether or not it was seen or whether or not it was heard. So I like it when it's on the spot reviewing. Like, I loved it when I saw, like, different paranormal investigators had done that, and I feel like it played a really big role in helping me becoming more of a believer when I was growing up.
Right.
So definitely want to use that as well.
Right. So, I mean, Liam, do you like the idea of getting the background? Because everybody's a little bit different. I've heard investigators don't want to know anything about a place because it's going to cause suggestion. To me, I mean, and this is just me, I want to know everything. I want to know who lived there and
yeah.
when. I could care less. I think it's a shortcut, because if I'm going into a place and I know who the players are, it makes it easier for me. This, are you a man? Are you a
Yeah.
woman? Are you like, I'd rather, hi, Tom. My name's Ken. It's like, I know you lived here, so, it's better as an introduction. Do you kind of, is that kind of your wheelhouse, Liam? You kind of like getting the background, getting the history, learn a little bit about the place on that level?
I mean, I see the value in it both ways because, like you said, it can be a suggestion thing. It can't be something where you'll in your mind's eye or your actual eye, you'll see something that is,
Yeah.
you you read about, you saw pictures of, like, oh, that's the ghost from this old photo I saw,
Right.
and it might not be anything, but your mind is going to project it onto that, potentially. But I think it's useful to get some background to have some to know a little bit. I would maybe try to keep specifics out of it, in a sense of like things that you could directly envision, essentially, or you could
Right.
project onto anything, any situation you might get into.
Yeah, I think that when you hear all the reports of activity, that can be a little bit of a burden because suddenly you have expectations. Well, I want to see the prison guard that. Um,
Yeah, that.
and I'm sure that over decades and decades, maybe a lot of things have happened there, but it's unreasonable to figure we're going to go in there for 5 hours and everything everyone's ever experienced or seen is going to happen to us. A lot of times if you
Yeah.
come out with a voice or a recording, one thing is awesome considering the rarity of it, where people say, what else? You play something that's great, and the next question you get is, what else did you get? What else did you
Yeah.
get? It's just it's never enough. The expectations are too high. Um, Equipment, as far as what you're going to bring, you showed us a meter before. Is it just typical things? Is it digital recorders, some cameras, or because you don't have to go break the bank on this stuff. You really don't. You build up to that. You read about this new gizmo that lights up, see if it works or if it just sucks and it's a waste of time before you start putting money into this stuff. So you're starting out pretty basic, ground floor recorder cam, that kind of stuff.
I am planning on using, to be quite very honest, my phone to record. I
Okay.
ended up getting a iPhone 17, and it's been helping out a lot with a lot of my current videos in regards to filming planes, trains, and everything.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, I'm thinking of just sticking with this, even though my mom really wants me to get my old camera back, and she's like, you need to use that camera because she really loved that camera. But she's like, oh, you use your iPhone, whatever. But like, essentially, I'm waiting on the camera side, just putting that as a back burner. I did get the EMF meter. I do want to get a spirit box, but I'm sort of kind of like questionable about the spirit box and how they work because I've seen them work,
Hmm.
I've seen them not work, but also at the same time too, like I don't know if they can be manipulated. That's the question that's also in my head about spirit boxes. I do want to do the I forgot what it's called. Obviously, I want to get voice recorders for sure. Um, but
Yeah.
also there's like a little circular.
REM
It's like
pod.
a beaker. Yeah, the REM pod. Like I want to
Okay.
get a REM pod or like little
Yeah.
cat balls and see if that would help.
Yeah. See, you get the stuff that might measure an environmental change,
Mhm.
temperatures, and stuff like that. See how it affects those. The spirit box. Um, I guess as far as manipulation, I think the danger is manipulating us because if you're listening to it and three words come out of it, people have a tendency to string them together. This one says stairway demon, and then, oh, was there a demon on the stairway? And then you're filling in the gaps. I apologize for nothing because it can sometimes with the words that come through. If you have questions for Liam or Alyssa, please put them in chat. And at some point tonight, we will get to them. Hello to Paranormal Girl joins us all the way from Wales. Hello, dear. Nice to see you here tonight. Brendan, is Brendan here? Our Australian connection? Not yet. All right, I'm going to bring George in here anyway. Yeah, you guys go worldwide tonight. I'm going to bring in George here right now. I am going to go get myself another ginger ale, and I'll be back a little bit later. So see ya. Thank you.
Oh wait, George, I think your mic is off. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I keep it off just in case you get radio calls. Yeah, just a quick announcement. Ken DaCosta made everything up about spirit boxes, so don't listen to
I saw you pop in. I was like, ah.
him. Exactly. Liam, not to put you on the spot, but this is exactly what I was looking for with the skepticism behind it. When I began this field, I had no experiences to go off of. I wanted answers. Fortunately, I had just moved within 40 minutes of St. Augustine, one of the most notoriously haunted locations in the country, and began cutting my teeth, going out to the cemeteries, and finally getting into like St. Augustine Lighthouse, the old jail, and you know, gathering that evidence, and which helped me to validate to me that there is something going on there. Uh, as far as the phenomena that I'm experiencing, I have experienced and I have captured. Now, you've seen two pieces of evidence already. The ones that Alyssa showed you from the Oliver house with Cody and Satori doing their tapping method, and the collective consciousness experiment that we did with her. Debunk those.
Uh, to be honest, it's been a minute since I actually saw them.
He's backing off already, Alyssa.
I
I
mean,
like it.
yeah, true.
You literally saw them
Uh,
3 days ago.
that was not 3 days ago.
At least
That
a
was
week
like a
ago.
week ago. But
Yeah.
Tell
I
me what your
mean,
gut told you, because that's what's important.
uh, I would have said because essentially, what was it? It was that like run me through exactly what happened again, just so I'm not like completely blanking on this.
Which ones? Do you want me to start with the
Start with the oldest one, the collective.
So
Yeah.
with the collective investigation, what ended up happening was essentially it was me, Holly, Mercedes, and George, and George was essentially guiding us through it by having somebody, basically having his spirit guide, basically take us to a place, and there was three different like sections of it, three different portions of it. Where the first portion is where you go and you see the place, and you're making note of what the place looks like. You have your eyes closed, you're relaxed, you're in like a meditative state to where you're able to focus on that place, and essentially you figure out what the place looks like, and then you wake up, basically you open your eyes and then you write down what you saw, then you do it again, and this time you're supposed to see a person or a figure or somebody, so someone that's related to that place. You make note of their features, open your eyes, you write down again, and then the third part is where they tell you their story. So you close your eyes, you let the person that you saw tell you their story. So pretty much during that
Okay.
experiment, me, Holly, and Mercedes were able to put together, basically see different people. So like, I think it was Holly had saw a man, Mercedes saw a woman, I saw what I thought was a woman, but the thing was, she was completely white. It was like a light, like almost angelic. So, but I knew it was a woman because I could see flowing hair. We all saw different parts of this place where essentially I saw like burnt wood and I saw like a counter. Holly saw a little bit of burnt wood, charred wood, but she saw like, I think it was a table or I think it was like the countertop. I can't remember. I know she mentioned that it was like old wood. And then I think Holly saw the same thing where she saw a building. And then when it came to the story, I ended up seeing essentially a woman who was sleeping underneath a white blanket, and it was like you were having a view of somebody looking through a door, and I kept getting flashes. So I kept seeing the woman sleeping underneath the white blanket, then a little girl peering through the door, kept seeing like the woman sleeping underneath the white blanket, then all of a sudden you see her being strangled or like strangled by a man, like you know there's a figure there, then it goes back to the little girl, all of a sudden you see the little girl holding the hand of the man, but you don't see the man's face or anything like that. Back to the woman, and basically you piece together that essentially she was murdered. I didn't know that the little girl got murdered until George ended up telling us after we had reviewed what we had saw, and essentially you're just like, wait,
Yeah.
what? You're just like, and me and Mercedes and Holly, we were all in shock. Like, not even kidding, George. We sat there for 2 hours
Yeah.
after the interview, just in shock and just literally like looking at each other, like, what? Like, how did we all see what we saw?
Liam, to add to that, what Alyssa was just talking about, we have a Patreon account. And on Mondays, tomorrow night as well, 8 p.m., we do a town hall. On occasion,
Mm.
and in the Patreon, just to explain it, all of our Patreon members that can fit join us on screen. And we've done several collective consciousness and remote viewing experiments. They kind of go hand in hand in a sense. The remote viewing gets you there, the collective consciousness is the interaction with the energies of the property. In this particular case, that we've done locations in each of those different cases, the efficacy or the accuracy of what these people who are just fans of the paranormal has hit has been above 80% accuracy. Naming names, describing the people, telling the story of the building. We've just not revealed anything to them. Here's a picture of the building. What do you see? So there's something to be said about everybody having that ability in one way, shape, or form once you open yourself up to it. But based on her story of telling you that, what were the first thoughts that came into your head? Because there was no suggestion from my side. I just let them roam.
Uh, my first thought, I mean, again, I wasn't really necessarily thinking about this as being completely true or fake immediately. Um, I mean, I noticed that you said that they were strangled, they were stabbed. If I'm gonna pick holes in it, um, I'd also say that a lot of this is kind of general. Like, you see someone through a door, you see burnt wood. I've never been in a house without burnt wood of some kind, just like as a countertop or whatever. Um, it gets hard to prove that something did or, like, I can't really disprove your experience, right? You know, I think it's easy to, like, you've made up your mind about it, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say that that's not valid or that that didn't happen, right? Um, I just, it's hard for me to believe anything that I haven't experienced, right? To just have someone say, I saw this, and this is what happened to me. I'm like,
Stop right there,
yeah,
because that's exactly what we're talking about here, Liam, is that personal
yeah,
experience. You are a
yeah.
non-believer until you believe, until you have that experience. And
I
that's
am a
the
filthy
important.
infidel. Yeah.
So if you find yourself uh, with somebody who is a believer, somebody who is an experiencer, and you lack that experience so far, is there any discussion between the two of you as to where you're going to go? Because there are infamously haunted locations, and then there are reputed haunted locations where there are claims, but there's been no evidence at this point in time, just stories. So, do you go to the ones with the stories and validate, or do you go to the ones that evidence has been collected in the past and see whether or not you can duplicate that evidence?
I'd want to go there wherever there's evidence, frankly. Like, to me, like, if I go to a bunch of locations where there's this is supposed to have happened, something's supposed to have happened, right, and nothing happens for me, and this happens like a dozen times, then I don't think I would believe. At that point, I would call it, be like, you know. But if something does happen, then
Yeah.
you know,
All right. So let's take this a few months from now into the future. And Alyssa has picked up two digital audio recorders. And I absolutely, Alyssa, suggest that you get into a dialogue with Ken and ask him which recorders are the best ones that aren't going to give false positives, as we call it in the field. Um, stay away from the Panasonic. But yeah, there's a lot of them out there that are good. So, Liam, you're out with Alyssa with these digital recorders. I always recommend, as I sent you the message, at least two, so that if that is the sound of your stomach in that video you sent me, it's not going to show up on two recorders if it's anything else. If it catches on two recorders, chances are it's your stomach.
Yeah.
But if you are out there, Liam, with her, and it's just you and her, and then there is a third voice, will that help you be more incentivized to continue your journey?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of this, like my perspective is a lot of the like evidence that you see is like some random like bit of static. Like, why are all the photos of Bigfoot blurry? Bigfoot's just blurry, I guess. You know, like that kind of thing. But it's like if I see something that's very clear, like if I hear a voice that sounds like it was next to a speaker, like I'm holding this thing and it sounds like whatever said that was 5 feet away, then I would be like, all right, okay, you know,
I'm glad you agreed to that because you said, if I see it and it's clear, and I can tell you the rarity of seeing something, unless, of course, you've got
yeah,
abilities. If you're intuitive, such as Alyssa, and you'll see things, and we know many people that are
yeah,
like that they pick up on it. But myself, Ken's been doing this 50 years. I don't think he's ever told me he's seen an apparition. He may have on an occasion, but it's not a common thing. It's a very rare encounter. Why? Don't ask
yeah,
me why. Like I said, we've been doing this long, and it's on the job training. Still trying to figure out why. Why in residual cases, we still can't predict something that is a repeat, a repeat event going on, and we can't predict when a repeat event is going on. So, there's still a lot of research to be done in this. But if you stick to your guns about, I've got seeing is believing, and I've got to see it, then it's going to be a long
yeah,
wait. But when you're picking up audio,
yeah. I
that's
don't think it
going to
has to be
explain it.
necessarily seeing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
think
the
audio would be more.
the Mel meter you've got, keep it as a nice little game. It's not accurate. It picks up so many different signals. You'll be chasing your tail when you're out doing an investigation. It could,
Oh,
police chatter, your cell phone. It just lights up and lights up and lights up. So, I wish
yeah,
I had talked to you before you made that purchase, but at least you're not paying the prices that they used to put them out there for.
Yep.
Um, yeah, stick with your recorders, certainly a video camera. The camera on your phone is fine. And you saying that a lot of what you want to do via your iPhone.
Mhm.
Are you talking
Mainly
about apps?
filming, just filming.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, stay away from the apps just as much.
Yep.
Um, but I also wanted to give you guys a little bit of time to ask questions, anything that you're curious about with regards to investigating, jumping into this for the first time. There's got to be some curiosities regards to procedure, regards to equipment, regards to locations. What's the best to look for? And if you have any of those, Alyssa, you ready to do? Okay, what do you
Yeah.
have? And is it if
Uh,
it's technical, it goes back to Ken.
yep. So what would you say is the most difficult thing about investigating? So like you go from one location, what would be the most difficult thing that you've experienced at each location that you've gone to?
Review.
Review?
Review is difficult. You kind of, to me, again, you can get physically drained doing an investigation, and you can blame it on the spirits or just blame it on the human body. There's multiple reasons, but when it comes down to review, the focus necessary to sit there and listen to, even just simply, if you did a 3 hour investigation, most people do 6 to 8 hours. Some people are crazy enough to do 12 hours. But if you've got to play back 3 hours of audio or 3 hours of video, you've got to stay laser focused on what you're doing. It's hard. It really is hard to not get distracted with life and what goes on. Chunk it if you want. Do an hour, get away for a while. because that static that goes on 90% of the time, it'll drive you nuts. I would like Ken to join on this also because I'm sure he's got a different perspective as to what's the toughest part of an investigation. Again, I ran a team 15 years ago. Ken still runs a team for more than 15 years, I'm sure. Rise of Paranormal. What would you add to that, Ken?
Um, I would say unwelcoming hosts. When you're going into a place, you want to make sure that everybody is on board with it, on board with you being there. And those are questions that you ask before you can go. I mean, the other thing is just time. It can be mind-numbingly boring because you don't know until hours or days afterwards when you're doing your review if something shows up or not. There have been more times than I can count that we've walked away and said, it was a nothing night. It was a quiet night. And then you go to review, and somebody who's not supposed to be there is like throwing a sentence out on you at your recorder. So you can't take anything for granted. I mean, there's so much good and so much fun to be had. It's hard to, you know, all the difficult things that come with it. Traveling, um, so many of those things when you go outside your general area and you have a 7 hour or a 13-hour drive or something like that. Um, you have to spend that time wisely. Like I said, being with someone whose company that you enjoy is the best possible thing that you can do. So, I mean, those are the two things that stand out. I mean, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort. It can be just hours and hours of what seems like nothingness. Am I talking to my air? Is this on? Is this on? Is there any ghosts out there? Um, but you find out pretty quick if you're cut out for it when you go through those nights. If you come back for more, then you should be good.
And you've got a great bonus to your investigative equipment ensemble, and that's Liam. Take his challenges to your evidence to heart and say, I'm gonna prove you're wrong. Don't get angry at him, but if he says, no, that's the wind outside, or that's a small animal, and you're like, no, it's not, and let's go through, and you'll see that the entire place is sealed. If you heard a noise down here and we go down there and there's no way an animal can access, then possibility that you'll be able to convince him of it. Take his challenges to heart and up your game. That's the important part behind having a skeptic with you. Next question, please.
Next question. What are the necessary instruments? Well, I feel like you answered that earlier. Definitely the voice recorders, camera. What
Yeah.
other instruments would you recommend?
Yeah, just don't go into Hawk. And one of the things that you talked about reviewing right away, if that's not possible, either do one of two things. Either dictate into your recorder exactly what you just experienced quickly as you can so you don't add or subtract things, your mind doesn't wander, um, or jot them down on a notepad. Because the quicker you can do that, because, we're not infallible. By the following day, what looked like a head had arms and shoulders, and we don't even know we're adding those things. So add that to just the basics. Don't go, break the bank on a lot of this stuff. Like I said,
Yeah.
see what works, read the reviews, ask some opinions, and then if you want to spend the cash and it's worthwhile, then that's up to you.
Liam, are you technically sound?
Uh, I mean, I guess, I guess so. I mean, you mean like paranormally, kind of just like knowing what equipment is useful and what isn't, basically.
Well, for review, I would say, if you're going to look at audio, you can pull up a software called Audacity. You may know of it already. and Audacity will help
Yeah.
you clean up the audio when you're doing review. There are much more advanced ones that are out there also, but it's a good starting point, like Ken said, so you're not breaking the bank to do what it is that you're doing. Try to find the different things that you could use without, you know, costing more money. That's an important part behind it. And Alyssa, I
Yeah.
am going to step in favor of spirit boxes. And there's a difference between a spirit box and an obelisk, because the obelisk will be the one that comes up with stabbed, stairs, basement. Okay, you stabbed on the stairs going into the basement. You're putting a narrative together. Spirit box can be used very, very well so long as you have two things. Write these down: trigger words and redundant response. While you're writing those down, I'll explain each one. Trigger words are words not normally heard on radio bandwidths, or at least not commonly heard. And it doesn't have to be profanity, but you can use that because AM and FM have to adhere to FCC regulations, so you won't hear much cursing on there, yet you will on a spirit box. But the other thing is to use words that you want. You can use the word Godzilla, and there's a possibility somebody somewhere might be talking about Godzilla on a radio wave, but at the same time you're requesting it. That's the interesting part. So trigger words are good to validate that you're making contact with a spirit, and repetitive response. Have that trigger word said multiple times, and any other question, use a trigger word that goes along with the answer, because Liam will be the first one to tackle you on the question of how many spirits are here. Four. Well, four could be the score. Four could be how many people died in an accident. I mean, numbers come across radio bandwidths all the time. So you need a trigger word and that answer multiple times repeated. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Right. Do you subscribe to that, Liam? Do you think that's a better way to go about it? Getting answer after answer after answer rather than just taking it face value?
Yeah, I mean, I think it adds to the totality of evidence, at least. You know, it strengthens it, I would say.
Um, I forgot what the original question was. Oh, the equipment. So anything else to add equipment, Ken?
Yeah, if you use sound programs and stuff like that, Alyssa, I'd be more than happy to send you an email as far as, the settings you got to work with, because there's a way that you just hit one button and five different things happen to your recording that don't compromise it. They just take hiss out, like if you have like a heater running or something like that, and clean it up. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to tell you what those settings are for
Yeah, go
something
ahead.
like Audacity, because it's a free program and you don't have to use, I mean, musicians use it to record tracks. But for what we're doing,
Yeah.
you maybe need five functions, and it really, really helps a lot. So, yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that to you, give you that info.
Because I was gonna say, like, I have some technical experience in that sense of like mixing EQs when it
Yeah,
comes to music, but like this would be a very different way to look at it or way to use
yeah,
it.
but you know what? When you see it, it'll make sense to you, Liam. If you've done production, if you've done that kind of thing, it'll make sense to you. Getting rid of hiss, EQ settings, normalizations, all of that stuff will make
Yeah.
sense. I have a high school buddy who's a musician who has a literal recording studio. And once in a while, just keep him on the hook. I'll send him something. Hey, Rick, what do you think of this? So, a little bit helps. But,
Yeah.
Liam, I think you just became the tech review guy on Phoenix Phantom Paranormal. You're the
there you
tech
go.
guy now. Review. Next question,
I'm
Alyssa.
rusty
Do you have
with it, but
another?
I'll get back to it.
Next question,
Uh,
Alyssa?
how
Or
often?
Liam, if you have a question, Liam, please. Go ahead,
Yep.
Alyssa.
How
Well,
often do
I
spirits
think
follow you home?
How often do spirits what?
Follow you home.
For
They
me
can.
personally, I'd say one, maybe two times in 20 years. Ken, anything at all for you?
If they are, I've never been made aware of it. I mean, I've never seen anything or, you know, anything like that. I'm not saying it's not right around the corner, but um, I would never discount someone's experiences who said that it has happened to them. All I can tell you is I don't believe that's the case. And if you're really feeling kind of antsy about that, don't feel embarrassed to just by yourself say, hey, you're not allowed to come with me. You need to stay. You know what? If it's a placebo effect and, makes you feel better, by all means, say it out loud. Say it loud, say it proud.
Hmm.
Part of being in the
I know she's.
metaphysical side of this, Alyssa, is your vibration's higher. You're going to draw spirit. You just also need to know how to reflect them, get them away from you at the same time. And there are great people in the field
I
that
know
do.
she's worried about that.
Yeah.
Yep. With
Uh,
certain locations, I'm worried about that.
any more questions from you, Alyssa? I know Liam has one.
Liam, would you like to ask a question?
Uh, I, I think it might have been on my mind, but I forgot it. Okay, so okay, what would you say was like a thing that happened for you, like you were in my position, where you were at least skeptical? Was there anything you could point to that changed that specifically?
1,000 things.
Yeah.
I mean, a
Yeah.
1,000 things. I've had people who have said, well, we didn't want to tell you about this because we know how you are. And I'm like, well, what the hell is that supposed to mean? They said, well, you tend to analyze things and stuff like that. I said, hey, I'll take it. If that's the worst thing that I got going for me, it's like just trying to be pragmatic about it. I've had a lot of things happen to me in the decades that I've done this, but they didn't happen in one week.
Yeah.
There is sometimes you go a month to 2 months and it's like, you know, not much happening. So, but that's a question
Yeah.
actually when we get back, I want to ask you guys related to that. But yeah, I mean, there are more people who feel that way, Liam, than let on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That they really, when they say, oh, we handle things scientifically. I mean, you use technology, but you're not a scientist. So sometimes we have, overstate
Yeah.
our qualifications a little bit. All we can use at the end of the day is a little bit of common sense. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The initial experiences and the reason why I was asking about recordings and the type of equipment to do a review on is because that was my first real paranormal skeptical breakthrough, was knowing I was in a location, knowing who was with me or not with me, and hearing voices come across. And they categorize it A, B, or C class EVPs. And you would hear something that is definitely not you, is definitely another voice that's captured on the recorder during an investigation that you did not hear firsthand, or else you would have mentioned it. Which, by the way, is an important part. Mark this down also, Alyssa. Mark everything during your recording. Your stomach growling. If Liam just happens to whisper, "What time is it?" Just make sure Liam whispering. Everything that's audible to you needs to be notated so that when you go back to do a review, it's not mistaken as a recording of something paranormal. Also, again, having the two recorders there with you helps to validate that, because you start up, this is Alyssa. I'm in this building, in this room, at this time, begin recording. And you have both recorders on. Now you have synchronization so that when you play them back, you'll be able to hear it. Did you hear the same sound on only one, or did you hear it on two? And theory, and it's only in theory, that that imprint, that spirit imprint, will only be on that one recorder, not both. Disembodied voice, entirely different thing, but disembodied means you heard that voice audibly with your own ears. So the recording will help validate that disembodied voice that's picked up. There are a number of them that Ken and his team Rise Up have caught in the past, disembodied voices, because you hear the team going, "Did you hear that voice?" That pretty much validates it for you.
There's a couple of other things I want to, it's not like, I'm sitting up here like a lecturer or anything, but if you pursue this, whether it's for 1 week, 1 month, or 10 years, don't let anybody judge you. You know, do what makes you happy. People are going to get a kick out of the idea you do this. They'll give you this face at first, and then within 5 minutes, they'll tell you a ghost story.
Yeah.
Something that happened to them or their aunt or in their home. To everybody's got a ghost story.
Your TikTok followers are going to eat this up.
Just
Yeah.
and don't let you're going to get all this information and advice and everything like that. Eventually you'll evolve and find your own way, because every one of us has screwed something up so badly that we laugh at it later on, but then we evolve from it. So don't let anybody judge you on that. And the other thing is, find something else to do in your life, because I know too many people are obsessed with this. Again, I'm not being judgy, but sometimes it's unhealthy. Like, just have something you can just step away from this and live life. Don't worry about the dead, live your own life. And that's especially important to, like, when kids get into this. I can't wait because I saw it on YouTube, and it's like, don't let this be the thing. You can love it, but whether it's music, makeup, I don't care what it is. Have something else that you can just turn this off. And you'll be a better investigator because of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Did we cut you off on
Like I know that.
questions, Alyssa, or do you have any more for us?
Oh yeah, I do have more questions.
Shoot.
How did you
Can I
reach
just say,
out?
so, like,
Hmm?
oh,
No, you ask.
sorry, but can I just say, like in my family, for instance, right? There's a lot of different people that are I've I have people that are straight up like manic street preachers religiously, and then the people that are atheists. There are people that are completely skeptical of the paranormal. There are people that are at the very least believe, right? So I've been around people that, like, my grandpa used to has books about the ghosts of Gettysburg because he was in the
Mhm.
Civil War,
Right.
and I mean, it's like I've been around everyone, like everyone, when it comes to viewpoints on these things. So I mean, I don't particularly judge anyone for thinking anything specifically. I mean,
Mm.
I think this is something that is just very personal to you. I
Yeah,
know a lot of her experiences are personal, so
we're no
but yeah,
different
don't
than
don't let it be your entire life.
we're no different than the beginning of man, Liam. For a millennia, everybody has asked, "What happens to us after we die?" I mean, it's a noble
Yeah,
question. It's like, you know, unbe- the paranormal out there was not invented in 2005.
yeah.
You know,
I
we
mean,
tend to think it was, and the Bible talks about nothing but ghosts, by the way. So there's that too. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, like that's what I mean by finding your own way. Take that advice and tune out what doesn't apply to you and use what does apply to you. Because we're not all the same,
yeah.
you know. Just have
Alyssa,
that
question.
fun.
Sorry, what?
Read that question.
Oh, how did you reach out to places?
Uh, Ken and I have very different stories on that. Mine's pretty quick. I petitioned the shit out of them. I just sent messages and messages and messages. Tried to write as valid an email or a Facebook message or a text message to a location with my intent, with my background or history, references, if you will, and would ask them time and time again. And some of the times we really hit home runs in the sense of going to or petitioning to a location that charges to go in there and them saying, no, no charge, just come on in, such as the St. Augustine Old Jail is one of those circumstances. So it's being persistent, particularly for places you're dying to get into. If they are primarily commercial locations, then they got bills to pay, they got money to make, so they're gonna stick to their guns on what they want to do. But I don't go for the pricey ones. There's no reason to do that. There are hauntings all around us. So going into a place and paying, $2,000 to investigate, $4,000 to investigate, it's, all you're trying to do at that point in time is doing it for likes and views. If you're going to put that kind of money in, hoping that there's going to be a return on the other side. But if you're going to be a true investigator, then you can go to, a library, and say, hey, or a school, we'd like to come in and investigate. We've heard of some of the claims in this place. Try it. Worst case scenario, they just say no.
Hmm.
Ken,
Yeah.
doing residential cases, it's a whole nother ball game, right, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, I still do residences. That's another dynamic. You're dealing with emotions and children in the family unit. That's not for everybody. It is not for
That's
everybody.
why I quit.
Um, I would say, guys, never underestimate the historic value of a place. Learn about it and let them know you're aware of it. You don't have to lead with the paranormal thing because a lot of places just don't want to be known as the spooky place. You know, so learn a little bit about it and approach it that way. Um, I think the other thing I'm going to do, Alyssa, is I am going to. I don't do this for everybody, but I'll do it for you because you know a guy. I am going to send you our team manual, but I warn you, it's about 130 pages long, so you don't have to eat it in one sitting. But it's like how to get into places has its own section,
Hmm.
and it's going to say it, a lot better than I could. We could go on and on and on, but pick what your question is out of that. It's not the definitive anything, but it may help. So I'll be happy to do that. And like I say, if you have a question about, what kind of architecture is this house, that's in there too.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
make of it what you will.
Hmm.
Next
And
question.
next question.
Oh, she's happy to do it. Dan read it. Dan's saying it's really lots of great information. Dan's like, I didn't know. Dan's half telling the truth because he told me I didn't know it was so long. But it
And
talks about like how to buy cameras, how to buy recorders, the specs that you want on a recorder. Make sure it has metal housing so it repels stray microwave signals. Just
mhm.
dumb, long-haired, nerdy stuff like that.
That actually ties into that question that I was about to ask because I was like, can you record via your iPhone or do you need to have like a video camera like a DSLR or a mirrorless camera to record?
My own feeling is you want something that's got a dedicated circuit, something separate, rather than how a phone is wired. That was 6 months ago, and he's probably still not doing it. I like a standalone thing designed for what it was designed to do.
Mhm.
So Sony is my. I don't get any money from them, but I like Sony.
That's
Sydney Perez. Hey, George and Ken. How you doing, Sydney?
Pierogi, pierogi. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, I agree with Ken. You know, I've still got my little Sony camcorder right here with me. I mean, this thing has. God, wait, I don't know if I can hold it up. It'll be seen.
is
That's the
that a
hardest
pull?
part
Is
about
that
a
a?
green
That's
screen.
old. Is that a pull start?
Oh no,
Like a lawnmower?
yeah, Black and Decker. So
um,
it's old, but it is reliable. I have taken it has been to every haunted location I've gone to multiple times. So you know, and again, it's pricing within your budget. And right now, it's the same thing I've said before. Why are you recording at all? Is it for validation to yourself or being able to post to your social media, look what I caught? Because we can both attest to the fact that no matter what you put out there, no matter how incredible the evidence, people are just looming to tear you apart.
yep.
To tear you apart. Liam could capture the most amazing evidence ever as a skeptic and go, guys, I'm a skeptic and I can't explain this. Trust me, there will be 400, 500 people that'll come through the comments going, oh, you faked it. Oh, you're a liar. Oh, it's untrue. So sometimes the evidence data collection, beyond your own personal edification, your own files, um, is just an effort in futility. It's just not worth it. So, you know, again, my aspect to it is, as Ken has said, don't break the bank. Get a couple things that you want for your own posterity, for your own collection, but mostly just experience it. You know, I would rather have Liam come back in 6 months and go, I saw a full body apparition, dude. We were at this location. It's incredible. Then here's the evidence of it.
Hmm.
I saw Bigfoot.
Yeah. Any of those.
Um,
Yeah.
the thing is, though, is like as far as social media putting it out there or not. Here's the way I look at it. If you're doing it for yourself and you answer your own questions and you build up some kind of whatever understanding or enlightenment that there's more to that, you're better off passing that, playing it forward to somebody else. Because you're going to run into somebody at some point after you put some time in who believes that something's going on that's very upsetting, and you can counsel them. Okay, look, think of this, do that, handle it this way, and those are the things that you'll gain in knowledge that you'll make up for, not getting, 500,000 views or something like that. But you might be able to help somebody, even if it's to explain you have nothing to worry about.
Hmm.
You know, it's like your pipes are rattling when you turn the water on. Look at that. Go downstairs and see if your pipes are bracketed. If not, they could be banging against the floor. You're helping somebody a millionfold just by getting rid of irrational fear. So
Hmm.
that's the thing about documenting and learning and everything like that. Pay it forward.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Next question.
Next question.
There's more.
Yeah.
She's only on the first page.
Here's okay. This is a question because I have a feeling because I love how the fact like when we went to Astoria, whatever happened always happened to me. It didn't happen to Liam. So my next question is why don't skeptics like usually sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Why don't skeptics get targeted by spirits?
Why don't they?
Yeah.
Because then they wouldn't be skeptics anymore. There have been a lot of converted people. I'm going to assume that for everybody who's dug in like a tick, there are people who have been converted as well. A lot of skeptics want that experience, or so they say. I assume they do.
I've
I mean, yeah,
encountered
I'd be
several.
open to it.
Yeah, there are many I've encountered who that I was a skeptic, and then I was here, and a lot of the times it's even funny. It's not even during an investigation. Something else happened. We were, walking through the park, or we were in this building. I didn't expect to see it, and I saw this apparition, or I heard this voice, and there was nobody there. Things of that sort that'll come up. But uh, skeptics don't want to be proved wrong. But they want to be validated. One way or the other. If I'm going to claim this, because I've always said ghosts don't exist, if I'm going to claim this, I really need to be sure. And the unfortunate part of it is they would rather blame it on their brain than claim that it's paranormal. I must have just, my eyes are playing tricks on me. My ears are playing tricks on me. That didn't really happen. And that's the problem with the paranormal, because nothing is certain. There's no certainty as to it happening again. You could have the most profound experience in the most profound location, go back, and it'll be dead the next time you go. Again, there's no consistency in what it is that we experience. So, the only way that I think it really drives home is if they continue to go out. It's kind of like, anything else, going to Vegas odds. The more you play, the more chance it'll pay off. And that's
Yeah.
the only advice that I could have for that person. Next question.
I mean, if I was gonna answer her question, I would be like, people see what they want to see. If you don't want to see something, you're
No,
not going to see it. If you want to see
no,
something, you're not. It's one or
no,
the other.
Yeah.
It's whoever you, whatever. If you believe, you'll see it. If you don't, you won't.
no.
That's all
I
I'm
want to
saying.
see Scarlett
It'll happen
Johansson
more.
in my office right now. It ain't going to happen. I don't believe that one bit. I'm not taking away what you're saying, Liam. You believe that.
Scarlet,
I
hi.
simply don't believe that.
George, yeah,
Call her up.
West Palm.
You got Scarlett? Hey, baby.
Wrong right now.
Is
Uh,
that restraining
Can you
order
get
still
ad?
in place?
oh, she said give her about 5 years.
Okay.
5 years.
Can you get Ad Armas in there, please? That's my request.
You and Anna.
No, I mean, yeah, but there's some truth in what Liam is saying. Um, Expectations, things like that. And usually they're false positives. It's like, I want to see a ghost doesn't make me see a ghost. I wouldn't go that far.
Right.
But it will not
Yeah, I
help
wouldn't say it
me.
makes it
Not,
happen.
it won't help me not misidentify stuff.
Mhm.
Or like
Like I'm
wishful
saying,
thinking, like when
if you like
people
see a
hear a
piece of
noise
evidence
and
and you're on the
everybody,
fence about it,
yeah, when people hear a noise and everybody freaks out and everybody goes running. Oh, that bugs me so much. It's like,
like I'm saying, you can show someone a recording of something, and you're gonna get. If you show 50 people a recording of something, you might get,
absolutely,
25 evidences at
absolutely,
least.
absolutely.
It's just how it is.
And that's why you gotta test your own stuff, even if the point that it's self-defeating, because you really want something, and then at the end you're like, somebody moved a chair. They're not screaming at me to get out.
Yeah.
Somebody moved a chair. But some of these sound programs will help you. They really do.
There's
They
also,
help to cut through you know, what you could just write off.
I think
Next
for a lot of people
question,
too, they
madam.
kind of.
Oh,
Sorry,
go
let
ahead.
me just say this.
Finish your thought, Liam. Go
I
ahead.
think I think for some people too, I'm not accusing anyone here of this because I'm guilty of it too, but I think a lot of people personally want to like what they want to think of themselves as something like, you know, whether it's believing in the paranormal or not. That oh, I'm rational. I would never believe that, or I know things people don't. These skeptics are idiots. You know,
Yeah,
it's people have their own self mythos that they have. They'll buy into, and you need to distance yourself from that as much as possible.
yeah. Well, I
I
think
think
that
I try and do that.
my foible with skeptics is that, and I understand if they're calling out somebody who's bilking someone out of money, like a psychic. We've read horror stories, 100,000, 200,000 from some poor old woman. Um, Here's the thing: a skeptic takes on a claim to prove or disprove it, but you don't take on the claimant. In other words, if
Yeah.
I say, no, you're wrong, and here's an alternate explanation, I don't at the same time turn around and call you a jerk and make it
Yeah.
personal, because now I've lost, now I have a bias, right? Now I get an axe to grind because I'm calling names. And so, so skeptics can be like believers, nothing's paranormal or everything's paranormal, that middle
Yeah.
ground, but you never make it personal, because then when you do, your objectivity
Yeah.
starts to go away, and it's just, oh, I'm a jerk because, I'm not trying to bilk anybody out of
Yeah.
money. I maybe misidentified something, okay, I'm human. Why am I a jerk? That's the line that gets
Yeah.
crossed sometimes, that, you know,
It's just ethics of debate, frankly. Like you've seen in school or in debate club when you were in high school,
right,
whatever. You don't
right.
attack. You don't ad hominem anyone.
Yeah.
You know.
There aren't professional ghost hunters, but there aren't many professional skeptics either. Let's just
Yeah.
let's just look at it that way.
Mhm.
Maybe one or two. Joe Nickel got paid, but
Yeah.
rest in peace.
What's the next one, Alyssa?
Did when it came to contacting these places, I mean, most of the places I want to try and deal with are the smaller places and starting small or easier to contact with or be able to get into. But when it came to a lot of the places that you guys visit, did a lot of those places, because of popularity, up their rates over time? Like,
Mm,
did
mm,
Yeah, quick story. Most of the audience knows this one. The St. Augustine Lighthouse, right after they debuted the episode on Ghost Hunters, I reached out to them and said, "Hey, I'm local investigator. I'd like to come and do that." Well, we don't really do that. At the time, the money I was making, I said, "Well, I'd like to donate $500 to the." Yes, sir, Mr. Lopez. Anything you like, Mr. Lopez. We'll give you 8 hours, Mr. Lopez. We'll get you security, Mr. Lopez. No problem. And we got in there. We did an 8 hour investigation. About a year later, I said, we want to come back. We had such a great time uh, with this investigation. Well, we don't know. We kind of, well, I'll donate 750. Yes, sir, Mr. Lopez. Anything you want, Mr. Lopez. And now it's $1,750 to investigate the lighthouse. Supply and demand. And
yeah.
that's basically it. But Ken knows this. The places he's been to, the places I've been to, where you can go as part of a group of investigators. And depending upon the size of the location, you may be able to disappear just the two of you into a section where there is nobody. And there may still be audio contamination, other people's voices, whatnot, some idiot screaming up on the third floor and you can hear them. But it certainly does give you more of an opportunity for any type of physical anomaly, physical manifestation, um, physical manipulation of something moving across the floor. Do not bring a beach ball or something so light that the slightest breeze will put it across the floor. You know,
Yeah,
but
it's a catch 22, because sometimes the bigger places are easier to get into. I mean, let's put cost aside. Let's just talk access. Because they're used to this. They run programs, they run events, so it's just a matter of signing your name. I think the challenge is, and this is the other thing I was going to mention, be absolutely certain that you offer the idea of anonymity. It's like, look, we'd like to come in, but we will absolutely keep it between us, because some places that'll open a door for you. It's like, look, we're not interested in blasting this out to the world. And maybe we are at times. We just finished a live event, you know. But we know the owner of Rolling Hills and she embraced that. But somebody else it might be. We just want to investigate, if we can have access and listen, we'll keep this totally anonymous. It's like going to a residential house. You don't put that family's name all over YouTube. You don't want them to be ostracized or the kids picked on or something. You keep your mouth shut. And sometimes that opens a door because unfortunately we live in a culture where everybody thinks everything's going to be on YouTube and they don't want it.
Ken
So
makes a good point.
I would make sure that that is also a caveat that you put in. Listen, if this is between us, we'll honor it.
2 words: undisclosed location.
Undisclosed.
You want to put up a piece of evidence because it's so compelling, and just put undisclosed location. There's no reason to, again, advertise for those locations. Secondly, we've heard this quite a few times now because the field is not on fire like it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It's slowed down a lot. A lot of these places, they still have a fixed amount for the group investigation, $25, $30, whatever it is per person to go in there. And lo and behold, you pick a day when nobody else shows up. And so it's just the 2 of you getting a chance to investigate the entire location because, it's not on fire. Halloween time, everybody wants to go. Nobody wants to go in the winter because it's too cold, or nobody wants to go in the summer because it's too hot. They find that sweet spot in between. There's, many ways that you could squeeze out the last bit of opportunity with the least amount of expenditure. You know,
I think a good idea would be to reach out to some of our West Coast people and see if they can hook you guys up.
oh God, so many.
Yeah,
Cheryl Plum comes to mind first.
yeah, because those people have some locations that they're regulars at that you probably haven't been to.
What?
That's how this works, man. It's just, you network a little bit, you meet the
Yes.
right people, you meet good people. You meet good people. And
Where are you
everybody
guys based
needs,
out of? What part of California again?
now,
I'm in Northern California. Well, we're in Northern California.
Yeah.
San Diego, Ken, is way south, right?
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's way south. But um, where the hell are they? Somewhere, Melissa's in Los Angeles. I mean, it's not like, so you get yourself a B&B or a hotel, and most of the places they go to actually are hotels. You get a room there, you know. Um,
Hmm.
but that's how it works, man. Somebody opens the door, and then maybe you have a place that accepts you, and you reciprocate. And goes, hey, why don't you come to our place and stuff? And then that's how you just build up some momentum.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Ken just said, the networking part of it. You type in your county in the word paranormal, you'll probably come up with at least 3, maybe 4 teams.
Hmm.
Reach out to them and say, hey, do you guys have your go to haunts we'd like to get into sometime? They may ask or invite you to join them on a haunt. Or they may say, yeah, this is the place we normally go to. We're busy with other things right now, but we know the owners. We can get you in there. Big aspect of getting into these places too is that networking.
Vet them heavily.
Yeah,
That's them heavily.
yeah.
Vet vet everyone heavily.
Next question.
I want to elaborate on that last part. You said vet them heavily. Why vet them?
Oh, make sure that you're
It's a
not
demon.
not make sure you're not getting into situations with freaking former serial killers or something like that. You know, you're laughing, but just make sure that this person is reputable and they're nice people, and like everything else, uh, they're not opportunists, not looking to take advantage of you. They have a legitimate interest in helping somebody get started or whatever, and
Start with the question: does your team have a team demonologist? If they say yes, hang up,
hang up.
hang up, run away.
It's a pretty sick title, though.
Yeah, and believe me, they will absolutely make use of it at the location.
um, if you have more or willing to take them, I want to interrupt and ask you guys a question, because this is going to go a long way to determine the type of investigators you're going to be and where your heads are at. What do you consider a successful investigation? At the end of the day, you pack up, you go someplace, you do your thing, you're home. How do you judge success on that investigation?
I mean, I think for her, she would say convincing me, to be honest.
Eh.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's personal, like what do you, if it's about finding something that convinces you,
You're on the right
you know,
road. If you determine, I feel like I'm lecturing again. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to. But if you determine success for whether you got evidence or not, you're screwed. You know, if you have a plan and you execute your plan respectfully and you execute it properly and expediently, whether you get something or not, you can walk. And let's say you learn something about the history of the property. Yay. You walk away from it saying, yeah, that was cool. That was good. Better luck next time. Because too many people base it on got to get evidence, got to get evidence.
And I would certainly say this as much as you possibly can. And there's maybe a dozen and a half of live investigations that we've done on this channel. Watch how Ken does his EVP sessions, because one of the unfortunate ruts people get into are asking three or four of the same question over and over again. Tell us your name, how many spirits are here. And rather than being personal about it, that's where Ken talks about the research of the place, the history of the place. In your case, Alyssa, you go into a place saying, I am sensing, yeah, a female presence. Am I correct in that? My name is Alyssa. What's your name? Since I'm feeling your energy, feel my energy. Don't use my energy. Feel my energy, and I'd like to be able to interact with you. And also, don't forget, when you go to a place that's not constantly investigated, to define the equipment you're using. Ken and his team have come across somebody who didn't understand what a balloon was. They'd never seen a balloon with helium before. So can you imagine holding a K2 and trying to say, make this box move? They're not going to comprehend.
What is that? A balloon. What does it do? Well, it's filled with air and you use them for celebrations. Why? That's a great question. I have no idea. We just do. We just do. You know.
Dan says, my view of success is: one, did I learn anything? Two, did I enjoy my time there? And three, would I go back if I had the opportunity?
I feel like that's the same way I view with traveling. Whenever we go to different places,
Yeah.
like
Same thing.
we really want to go back to Astoria. We really want to go back to Half Moon Bay. I want to go back to Fort Bragg. It's because of like the experiences that you had there, what made it memorable.
It's you don't know. There is no magic question. It's like I will be taking a break, and it's like, hey, I'm going to go to the store. Can I get you anything? That's an EVP question. You know, if you're going in, like we've gone to a place like Lizzie Borden House, Don't go in there and ask about if she killed her father. That's been done to death by 250,000 people. We know she loved animals. She donated the money that started the Fall River Animal Rescue League, which is a big thing. She was active in the church group. So I'm going to talk about that tonight. I mean, you may be a cold blooded killer, but we're going to talk about that tonight. We're not going to go over the case again. And a lot of times, like, what's going to set you apart?
And you work on your strengths. As an example, if the two of you are investigating, give the camera to Liam. If he feels silly asking questions to an empty room, then that's your part. That's what you do. And he documents, he pans the room, he looks for any anomalies that are going on during that time. It goes hand in hand. It really is one of those things that once you find your rhythm together, it makes a heck of a difference. That's one of the things that's uh, enviable of your position right now is the initial discovery, not only of these locations, but of yourselves as investigators and skeptics. I think it's an important part of what it is that you're pushing forward with. Give us one more question before we wrap it up tonight. What else you got for us? Your best one.
Liam, do you got a question?
Uh, I feel like you do.
I literally asked all my questions.
Uh,
These are all made up
because you asked a
answers.
lot
You
what I
know
would
that,
ask.
right?
Like I would ask, like, what equipment would you recommend? And then she asked that, so I blame you.
You can't.
Liam, I know you said that people who want to see things, but do you trust your own body and your own body's instincts, such as
Yeah.
the prickliness of your arms or on the back of your neck, a sudden change in the barometric atmosphere, a tightness in your chest, things that wouldn't normally be you on a day-to-day basis happening during a paranormal investigation. Would you trust in that?
Potentially, yeah. If it's if it's very if it's, I mean, it's hard to define, but something that's just weird, like a hand on the shoulder type thing.
Yeah, and
Something that I
document it
haven't felt
verbally.
before, as
Yeah,
example.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm lightheaded. Document it. I'm lightheaded. Maybe there's an EMF meter reading at the same time. Maybe there's a voice capture at the same time. Again, vocalize everything that you're seeing, feeling, hearing, smelling, all that stuff, uh, and at a low register tone, but with tone. Do not whisper, because that's when it can become misconceived as something spiritual. Alyssa, what's the next one?
I literally ran out of all my questions.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, so let's turn the tables here. So, what's more nerve wracking to you guys right now? Not finding any evidence or actually finding some evidence?
I know to her it would be not finding anything.
No,
She'd just be
not
mad
Really?
about
really.
it.
I don't think I would be that bothered by not finding
Maybe.
anything. It's just encountering something that you weren't hoping to encounter. Like,
Ah,
for
Mercedes,
example, what I
come
mentioned
your
about like
journey
the
on
whole.
this in Winnipeg.
Hello, my Mercedes.
Winnipeg.
What was it? Like what I mentioned earlier about asking like how many spirits do follow you home. Like my main concern is like if we go somewhere and say if when we did research nobody mentioned that there was a demon that was there, and I've had experiences where the demons got attached to me. Like I think my main concern is if something follows me home. Like say if I don't take the precautions like I've been told by I can't remember her name, but Erin recommended me to someone, and she said to take precautions when you go to certain places. So it's like
Yeah, there's a certain
that's
thing.
what I'm like,
I mean, just my thing. I don't do any pre-game warm-ups that, prayer and everything like that.
Nope.
I just don't. I mean, other people will come from a different location. You do you. I respect it all. If somebody wanted to, go over there and say a prayer, I would wait for them, and that's fine. But, everybody's a little different. Just turn it off and go. Um, what's the boundaries you have before you get out of here tonight? Are there places that maybe you don't have any interest in? Or is everything on the table, or is there a type of place that mm, not it doesn't necessarily have to be out of fear, it could be just out of respect.
Mhm.
Like let's just leave it be.
I would
Well,
say,
Auschwitz, I guess. Probably something it's like really dark, you know, something is that level. I don't
Good
know. I
answer.
mean, it's the first thought of me.
the first thing that always pops into my
But like,
head
yeah,
for me is the haunted museum. Like Zach Bagans' haunted museum, I do not want to go
What is
back.
this okay? Can you name this museum?
Huh?
Can you yeah, I have not heard the name of it. Are you prohibited
That's what
from
it's called. Is Zach Bagans' haunted museum.
Yeah, that's the sign outside of the building, Ken. Yeah. Uh,
That place I will not go back to. There was just too much.
hand in your paranormal card immediately.
I just had a few
you
things there.
the unfortunate part of a place like that is that you are subject to suggestion.
Yeah.
That's what that whole place is built for. That's why everybody is in character while they're taking you through, telling you all these stories. They're amping up your energy. Now, does that mean it amps up the energy in the building or with the objects in the building? There, there's no valid evidence either way. But I will tell you again, in the circumstance of what you've dealt with that you called a demon, um, I can vouch the fact that you probably did not come across something like that. You may have felt that there was something malevolent about it, but if it was truly something, I mean, you've heard us talk to people like John Zaffis. If it was
Yeah.
truly something demonic, it would take a lot if it's following you home for it to be gone. I'm
Hmm.
still dealing with mine from 2010, still dealing with mine. It was just something that I made a mistake about. Pretty much everybody in the chat knows what I'm talking about with Curse City, and so just to say, I had an encounter, a brush with something demonic, and again, mine is even a questionable discussion between Ken and I because Ken's been doing this 50 years. He's gone into more places than I could probably count, and has never had any type of encounter, negative encounter of that sort, except for maybe Wildwood last Friday, but that's about it. But he doesn't chalk it right up to something being sinister or demonic. He's just something interacted and changed his demeanor for that phase.
Very, very much so, but I'm still under the mind that whatever was there was brought in by the vibes of people who go there. A lot of YouTubers looking for evil and negativity. And we leave some type of imprint behind wherever we go, so I don't know. That's my story and I'm sticking to it,
Yeah.
I guess.
And in that museum, the same situation. People are going in there to be scared and leaving that residual energy behind. Can you imagine how that manifests?
Yeah.
But to be a true manifestation of something from the bowels of hell, biblically, um, you would be dealing with an entirely different situation in your life right now. Not dismissing what is you experienced,
Mhm.
but labeling it as something less than
Mhm.
that severity of a demonic attack, because
Uh,
boom, you'd know. And I'm glad that that's
just
the case with you. I wouldn't want you to deal with what I've been dealing with for the last almost 15 years.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about that sometime in the future too. I don't want to go rehash that. So you guys have a couple of places on the horizon that you've already got lined up, and undisclosed location is fine, but you can
Preston
tell.
Castle.
Yeah,
Oh, we tried to contact them. So they sent us their rates just a few days ago for Preston, and I was just like,
yeah.
what?
So I heard.
I
But
love Preston. I've been to Preston before, but
and you could probably just go on YouTube and type in Preston Castle, find out who has been there, find out who has an extremely good rapport with Castle, and they may say, "Yeah, tell you what, just call the owner Jim. He'll get you in for free." That kind of thing. It's all strategy. All of it is strategy to get to the places you want to get to. But what have you locked in so far? Anything?
so we're going to lock in. There is a Airbnb in Jackson that we're going to be going to look at. Uh, we are hoping to go to. I forgot which hotel it was. I'm like looking at my list. There's like a certain order I want to go in, like starting with Northern California, slowly move down to Southern, and then branch out to other states. Uh, Benicia. In Benicia, there's two places in Benicia. There's a store that used to be a bar called Angel Heart for You. I was hoping to contact them this week about coming out there. And then there was the Union Hotel that one of my friends had told me about. And I remember hearing about it when I was younger, out in Benicia as well. Uh, I am also thinking about visiting a few other cemeteries as well, and possibly looking at some of the missions that are out here in California. So looking at different missions that are out here. So like Mission Solano, which I actually did a project on when I was in elementary
The
school.
Viejo is outstanding.
Outstanding.
Mission Viejo is outstanding. Hmm, and again, okay, I don't know. Just check them out because they couldn't get arrested at one point, and then after you get on TV, weird things happen.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah. And if you are heading south, are you getting as far south as San Diego, Los
Goal is
Angeles?
to get out that far.
Not that far.
Well, goal is to get out that far.
Oh, the goal is okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
and keeping that correspondence with Ken, he could probably get you the connections for Melissa St. Hilaire,
Mhm.
Cheryl Plum. Um, I don't know who else out there.
I mean, there's a few people out there that at least can steer you in the right direction and give you like the God's honest truth. It's like, oh God, don't go there. As opposed to, yeah, that's a cool place. You should give it a shot. That's what you're looking for. You need a Yelp review on some of these places.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if Liam is doing all the driving, take pity on him when he's tired. Let him get some sleep and should investigate tired.
He won't let me drive.
Smart man.
I I'd rather no. It's mostly because I hate being a passenger in a car for like 4 hours. I'd much rather drive.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm
Hey,
so bored sitting in a seat forever.
Alyssa,
Like I
passenger,
need.
paranormal passenger princess. There's your three P's right there.
Well, guys, we appreciate you letting us in on your new endeavor here and getting a chance to talk to you both about the possibilities for the future. Again, I always am there for you, Alyssa, if you need to talk, you have any questions, and hopefully in 6 months from now or whatever, you have a nice little collection of evidence, and we have Liam as a full-on believer at that point in time. So we're looking forward to chatting with you guys again.
And when you get famous and have your own podcasts and stuff like that, invite us on, please.
Of course.
And
I
Of
got you.
don't
course.
don't don't forget us along the way.
Yeah.
Never.
Well, on behalf of Ken, thank you for joining us tonight. And for our audience, thank you guys for attending. Appreciate all of your comments. And don't forget our Patreon members tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Have no idea what's on the docket, but that's what Town Hall is all about. You guys may have things to address also.
Alyssa, real quick before we sign off, you'll be getting some email from me, okay?
Okay.
I won't forget you.
No?
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. That's it for our Dead Air Sunday night. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, have a good rest of your week. Enjoy the weather. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Have a good night.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips.